Thank you. Thank you. You guys are so kind. Welcome back to another handsome review with me, your host, Jamiel Surita, a handsome guy. Today, we're going to talk about the movie Uncharted, which just came out in theaters as of last Friday. So as the title suggests, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my history with the game Uncharted. I basically found out about it maybe a couple of years after it came out when I first got the PlayStation 3. And it was something that was really fun because it was something very different. It was definitely like a movie, just animated, like an animated action movie. And it was pretty amazing. Nathan Drake was like the coolest person ever. I always wanted to be someone like him, And also, it was something that brought me closer with my brother because we would spend time together just kind of trying to beat the levels, trying to see like what happens next. I never really personally laughed at the Nathan Drake jokes because honestly, I died so many times that when he kept saying the same thing over and over again, it would just like frustrate me. So there were moments where I would like turn off the volume and just kind of just keep replaying until I figure out how to beat the level. So, there's that. But he's definitely a very interesting and cool and charismatic character that's kind of hard not to care for him as he goes through these journeys. In the games, it was always kind of like he learned something in a way. I'm not going to say that I remember because I don't. It's been a while since I played the games. But I really just thought it was amazing. And I always thought it would be cool to be someone like him, Treasure hunting. I personally am a big history buff. So to like bring that combination with like a cool video game and a cool story and about a historian, it sounds like Indiana Jones, the video game, which honestly is what Uncharted was for a long time. So it was pretty cool. And so I just want to talk a little bit about that history before we go into the long development of Uncharted. Because guys, I got a story for you guys. Because this is a really interesting production of how it came to be. It's honestly like a miracle. The history of Uncharted, the production. Man, it's been going on basically since like around 2008. And you know what year this movie came out? 2022. So that's at least 22 minus 8 is 20. So it'd be around 14 years of production. Pre-production basically before they were able to like, get it off the ground and film the movie. Because, there was a lot of things going on during that time. PlayStation now officially exists as PlayStation Productions when it comes to having like their own movie company. That's the name. And since the beginning, I believe around 2008, a famous film producer told like, the news outlets, he was like, yeah, we're working on an Uncharted movie, based on the hype that came from the video games. And we're just trying to figure out how to put it together. So, it always takes time to make a movie. There's always usually a producer who kind of pitches the idea to certain actors. He creates like a packet in order to entice people to invest so then the movie can become a reality because, it's always expensive. I believe the production for this actual movie turned out to be around $120 million. So yeah, that's money. Originally, I believe it started with the director David O. Russell. He was famous for the movie The Fighter, starring Mark Wahlberg. He was like the first director that was known to have come on production. Eventually, he left and he was replaced by Neil Berger, who also left. And he became known for the Divergent series, which personally, I'm not a fan. And after that, on Sean Levy or Levi, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. He took over for a while. They were talking about like rewrites and how they were trying to start a script from scratch and stuff. And then he left because he went to film the movie Free Guy, which honestly, great movie. You guys should watch it, starring Ryan Reynolds. It's a great time. And right now, guys, he's actually filming, he filmed already this movie called, this other Ryan Reynolds movie. I don't know the name of it, but it's coming on Netflix next month. So you should check that out as well. And then after Sean took over, it was Dan Trachtenberg. He is famous for making the movie 10 Cloverfield Lane, the sequel to Cloverfield. And that movie was really good. It was this really cool, tense drama. And honestly, it had like 4 or 5 characters. Very easy to kind of track when it comes to story because you're just following the same group of people. So that was great. And the movie was really gripping and thrilling. So if you guys ever want to watch a movie, you should check out 10 Cloverfield Lane. After Dan took over, he had to leave as well. And then Travis Knight. Travis Knight is an interesting director because he's mostly known for animation films like Kubo and the Two Strings, which is an amazing movie. You should definitely check that out. It came out, I believe, around 2010, 2011. Then he went on to make the Bumblebee movie, which a lot of people said was a really good movie and way better than any of the Transformers crap that came before. So you should check that out as well. It's very highly recommended. And after Travis took over, Mark Wahlberg had actually left the production. I'm not sure when. Maybe a little after David O. Russell or Neil Berger. But, he was there for a while. And then there was rumors that they were trying to get Chris Pratt to play Nathan Drake, which would be a pretty cool comparison, pretty cool actor to take on the role. Because if you've seen him in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a kind of very similar personality type. So, that could definitely work. After Travis Knight left, Mark Wahlberg came back, and then they got Ruben Fletcher. Ruben Fletcher is known for making a movie on Zombieland and also Zombieland Double Tap, and he also made Venom, the first movie, which was really good. That was a surprising hit that made a lot of money for Sony, which is the studio that was also co-producing the film with PlayStation Productions. So, after such a long gestating time, they got Tom Holland. And it turns out Mark Wahlberg had no idea, what was happening. He was expecting, they get some older actor or something, because the main leads are always Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully. So then they told him no, so we got Tom Holland. And imagine hearing that. Tom Holland is 25, 26 years old, and Mark Wahlberg, I think, at least has to be in his 40s. So he's probably thinking, wait, so how is Tom Holland going to be Sully? Imagine. I don't know. I probably don't think he really thought that, but that would have been funny. So Mark Wahlberg got replaced for Nathan Drake by Tom Holland, and Mark became, he became Sully. So that was really interesting. I don't know if you guys noticed, right? But I'm sporting a very Sully mustache. Did I do it on purpose or by accident? Well, guys, I won't tell. And so, you have such a long production history, starting from around 2008 as a rumor, going all the way through to 2022 when the movie finally hit theaters. So I just wanted to give you guys some general information about the history of the film and also my history with the video game series, because I want you guys to know that when I review it, I'm not trying to be biased. Or maybe I would sound like I would be the positive biased. But the truth is, I want the film series to exist. Because, the video games were so amazing. It was very cinematic at the time when it came out. And I want to see Nathan Drake come to life. And so when I heard that that they casted Tom Holland, I was like, it's going to be kind of weird because he's very famous for playing Spider-Man. The only thing I really hoped for, really, was that Tom Holland gives it a very different flair to the character. And it doesn't feel like I'm watching Spider-Man with Nathan Drake's clothes, So now, after a lot of conversation, we're going to hit the most important part. The review for Uncharted, which premiered on Friday, the 18th of February. I want you guys to start with me. The drum roll. Uncharted came out February 18, 2022. Starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Co-produced by Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions. Directed by Ruben Fletcher. Look, I saw the movie basically yesterday, a couple of days ago, right? And I went in, kind of expecting something to be cheap, because that's what happens a lot of times when you make a video game into a movie. Because here's the thing that everyone forgets. As much as we all love the fan service, we all love the games and we like the references and stuff, it's not going to work unless the most important parts are present, which is character and story. If you don't have that, and more importantly, in the way that it's supposed to be presented in that medium, meaning the movies, then you're not going to be able to have an interesting, fun, or a movie that makes any money. But guess what, guys? The first weekend of Uncharted has already passed, and I believe it made around $51 million so far, the President's Day weekend, which is a lot more than they projected, which I believe they thought was going to be around the 30s. So, at any moment, they're going to probably be announcing an Uncharted 2. And guess what? Guess who's going to be in that theaters? Me. That probably means you should turn off the video, right? Because I already told you the end of my thoughts. But I want you to understand, where I come from when I'm giving this a positive review. The truth is, the movie starts with a really cool action-oriented opening. And I'm not going to try to get into any spoilers. It's just to kind of give you a general idea and why I liked it. And that was part of the reason why. Because it was like, what I learned about in a screenwriting class once was the idea of start as late as possible and finish as early as possible. You don't want to make a movie that takes place 100 years. It's going to be a lot harder for people to track it in general. Or even for myself, 100 years and you're supposed to remember like who this person is or that person is, and you have all these characters going in and out. That's not really how it works. What you want to do is kind of make a scene really engaging, something that opens and catches everyone's attention. Because a lot of times there's so many movies coming out, there's so many things happening. We have social media and cell phones in our hands, which have a lot more videos and things that are entertaining than some of the movies that come out these days. So you have to do something that really grabs their attention. And I thought that the opening of Uncharted was really cool. It opened with him in the air. And I think that's really cool. I'm not going to say any more like too deep spoilers, but definitely what I will say helped stand out was the relationship between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland. They had a lot of great chemistry as the two lead characters, which is really important to the video games because they're the two most important characters, Also, what I liked about it was the adventure, which should be obvious because that's what the series is known for. So, we have to go to different countries. They were like in Spain, Philippines, and some other countries. So that was pretty cool. Also, I will say there is a negative to this, which is that it was cheap. They spent $120 million, but to be honest, I don't think it went enough into the VFX or any of the effects because it looked fake in so many scenes, It was like a lot of moments where he was like doing like these crazy actions, or maybe they were in like different locales, and at times it didn't feel real. It felt like he was on a green screen, personally, when I was watching it. So, I know that the video game series definitely has made a lot of money. They should have just put as much money into the production. I know $120 million is a lot of money, but maybe they should have just focused more on the editing or more on how it looked, because those moments kind of took me out of the action. It was cool to kind of have like this adventure, kind of spy story. There were moments where they had like sleight of hand, like thieves, because that's kind of what they are. That's what they're known for in the story. So I would definitely say that it looks cheap, and I think that was the biggest issue for me. Also, the characters, they didn't go through the biggest character arc. I mean, there was moments where it really felt like the theme of the movie was kind of really putting it in your face. And I appreciate more subtle themes where you kind of get the idea from watching it without having the characters really like spell it out for you. And that's what I felt like at times. But definitely there were a lot of cool moments that felt like Indiana Jones, where they were solving like small puzzles and trying to figure out like what exactly is going on. I also will say that the history aspect of it was kind of light. It didn't really feel like I was learning something interesting. Instead, it kind of was more like, they were kind of just telling you exactly what it was. And I didn't like it that much. It wasn't really that engaging. But there were some standouts. I will say that. There's this actress named, I believe her name is Gabrielle Tati. And she was really great in the movie. She did this, she was kind of like the villain. That's not really spoilers, you see in the trailers. But she did a really great job. She was very engaging. She was like, not interesting, but, I really liked her performance. And then, Tom Holland was great, and he did have more of an edge. And that was the thing I was looking for. I needed that edge in order for it to work as Nathan Drake. I didn't want him to feel like he's Spider-Man in Nathan Drake's outfit. And he didn't. So that really shows his ability to act. I mean, there are some traits that really cross over between the two characters. But it was really well done. And the characters around them was sort of engaging. It wasn't the most engaging. But I really liked Antonio Banderas. He was great. I really like his voice and stuff. And like as that kind of trope that appears in the Uncharted video game series, it was really great to see that, because they always have like this rich guy who is kind of like trying to prove himself or trying to do other things. So that was really cool. I like that. And also Mark Wahlberg, he was good. I feel like he was still kind of playing Mark Wahlberg in the movie. He didn't really feel like Sully, but there were some cool moments, and his banter with Tom Holland was great. you know, that really made it stand out. And then, you know, I just decided to steal his mustache. I think I wear it better. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overall idea. And I think that, you know, is it worth buying to go see in theaters? I would say not really. You know, it's not the most revolutionizing or the most entertaining movie in the world. You know, I think that if you're looking for an adventure movie or an escape from the everyday realities of February, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to have a fun time. But if you kind of expect more, or like where you have more character development or that kind of thing, you're not going to get it. This is an adventure movie. And that's not really an excuse, because honestly, you can make a really great movie no matter what the genre is. I think that just they needed to focus more on character than they did. But it was good for what it was, because that's what I expected. So if you go into the movie with low expectations, you'll be surprised. If you go into the movie with high expectations, I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to be a little disappointed. But overall, I would say, you know, check it out if you have some time. And if you don't check it out. It's not worth wasting your time that much. I want to say thank you for sticking around for the video. You know, I really appreciate it. And I hope that you guys continue to stay with me as we go into this new idea and this new kind of gimmick of me wearing different suits every week and talking about different movies. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe, you know, check out all of the other videos. You definitely have, I would say, hours of content on this channel. So thanks again for checking it out, guys. I really appreciate it. Until next week.